Assalamu alaikum YouTube. What is up? It's Mansour back at it again. Anya Parampil from, I think she's from the Gray Zone Project. She used to be with RT. She's bounced around a lot. But she got caught lecturing Steve Saleta. And so Steve Saleta called out all the Bernie stands, rightfully so. And then Bernie stands, they're like little snowflakes. They get triggered all the time. So this is what Anya Parampil said. Anya Parampil said, I worked with Abby Martin for years and witnessed personally and emotionally how invested she is in the cause of Palestine. She and Mike have been dedicating their lives for months to making their document on Gaza. She is authentic and not your enemy. These attacks are repulsive. Check out my last video if you want to see what Steve Saleta said about Abby Martin and all the Bernie stands. And she goes on, I don't understand why people like Steve Saleta are more interested in virtue signaling on Twitter than getting out in the real world and speaking to the public about Palestine. Fortunately, Abby Martin will continue the struggle undeterred by infantile and unproductive attacks. Sana Saeed said, I also think there is a danger of over-glorifying Bernie Sanders on Palestine through oversimplification. Not looking to argue here, but genuinely engaging. Hoping we're all on the same side. Okay. So how did Steve Saleta respond? Because he responded in a very eloquent and way that really reveals how much of a Bernie shill Anya Parampil and all the Bernie stands are. Contempt for Palestinians is endemic to the U.S. left. All it takes is a failure to be enamored of our white saviors or a refusal to subsume a hard-fought vision of Palestinian liberation to U.S. electoralism for that contempt to arise to the surface, is what Steve Saleta said. And I actually agree 100% with Steve Saleta. Okay, I'm part Palestinian. My great-grandma came from Khan Yunis, Palestine. If you didn't know, watch all my previous videos. When Parampil says people like, she means an actual Palestinian who would rather drive a school bus than sanitize the dignity of our struggle to appease Western audiences. The only recalcitrance to bourgeoisie notions of common sense keeps alive the idea of freedom. So, for those of you that don't know, we'll flip the screen back over so you can see this. So, Steve Saleta is Palestinian. He used to be a professor at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. And the Zionist lobby gave him so much crap, they forced him out of academia, and now he's a school bus driver. So that's basically his story. And another reason I like him, I quit academia too. Part of the reason was I hated the Zionist influence. Aside, from the anti-Arab racism I faced and the bullying I faced and a whole bunch of things. I made a video on that. Check it out on my page. So here we go. I don't play compliant native to anybody. You want to make a living by discussing Palestine? Then you must be prepared to hear from the people on whose behalf you purport to speak when you whitewash our struggle. Along with the contempt, allow me to add smugness, humorous, defamation, dishonesty, authoritarianism, and an ability or unwillingness to understand the basic tenets of decolonization. So he's not going to be kissing up to anybody. And if people want to make a living by discussing Palestine, then you best believe they should be willing to listen on the behalf of authentic Palestinians when they try to whitewash the Palestinian struggle. And Anya Parampil, I agree with Steve 100%. Anya Parampil has zero willingness, zero ability to understand the basic tenets of decolonization. Okay, and that's why she's with these small hat Zionist gatekeepers like Max Blumenthal on the Gray Zone Project. And we'll get into that later. And here's Steve goes on. Steve Saleta says, something I wrote on Facebook yesterday. And if anybody can't see the problem with white leftists, for they're largely white, telling Palestinians to explain themselves, imploring Palestinians to be more reasonable, piling on Palestinians who express recalcitrance, getting triggered when people harmed by the system take a dull view of electoralism, then there's simply no basis for conversation. We can't talk. The problem is an absence of comprehension and compassion. What you're hearing from me and others is a deep sadness that there's no civic life for us in this country, because U.S. exceptionalism has overwhelmed the notions of the possible. And it's terrible that so many people who claim sympathy for the wretched can't identify that sadness. Thus, the only option they allow themselves is to get upset or defensive when we won't facilitate colonial fantasies of redemption. I agree 100%. Because, see, I call out a lot of people, a lot of Bernie stands on Twitter. I call Bernie out as a J Street funded Zionist war criminal. It's because he is. He took $5,000 from J Street in 2018. All of that was PAC money. And they were one of his top 100 donors. Okay? They're at 35 on the list. Okay? And when I call him out, I'm doing this because, you know, my great-grandma was from Palestine. My great-grandma's family is from Palestine. You know what I'm saying? This is like, it's a survival mechanism for me, you know? But when all these fucking hipsters, all these liberal hipster goofballs get defenses like, oh, he's the best option we have. He's the, you know, this and this. He's the least bad. He's lesser of all evils, whatever. It's like, bruh, I don't care about your colonial fantasies of redemption. I want liberation for my people. And if you can't understand that, then you should go back to your damn hobbit hole, you know? So let's go responses. Let's go to responses. Who do we got? Oh. All right. So what do we got for responses? Let's show this thread. Karen Free from River to the Sea is Zionist mentality to center white people and laud their hardworking credentials to discredit the natives as lazy and ungrateful. This is basic villa in the jungle Hasbara shit. I agree with that. Holy shit, it's nothing but recycled colonial narratives. And B'nai Ironblend, now I have mixed feelings about her. I think she might be a settler. She has some good points. So, but what does she say? So well said, Karen. When white people are centered and the colonized they are intent on saving are shunted to periphery, can they not see there is a problem? At Anya Parampil. Boom. I agree. Like I said, not the biggest fan of B'nai Ironblend, but, you know, good point. So give credit where credit's due. The flower list. What does the flower list say? Claiming Saleta as bad as the Zionist isn't as good a look as you think. And Karl Marx ghostwriter said, maybe claiming that contempt for Palestinians is endemic to the left. No, Karl Marx ghostwriter. Dude, Karl Marx was a Zionist. He was a Zionist gatekeeper. So, Karl Marx ghostwriter, he is wrong there. Steve Saleta is correct. That response should be reported, and I think I will do that. And the flower list responds, a Palestinian leftist made the claim. If you want to erase his viewpoint, talk to him about it. And Steve Saleta responds, I suggest that equating an utterly mean-spirited libel with an experiential observation provided with evidence is a wonderful example of the content Palestinians experience on the U.S. left. And I'd add that the coordinating mobbing I'm currently suffering is perfectly valid criticism of a star pundit's risible comments is another good example of contempt. I agree with Steve. As not only because I'm Palestinian, because, you know, Um, I experience this shit too, you know. I call out burning repeatedly. Everyone calls me a troll. Everyone calls me crazy, you know. Fuck that. I'm a Palestinian. My great grandma was Palestinian. And you think I'm just gonna sit here and, you know, be lectured to by all these white liberal hipster goofballs that are total Bernie stands? Hell no. I'm gonna tell them what it is. I'm gonna tell them, like, to explain to them what the situation is. And, you know, and if they have a problem with it, then fuck them, you know. If they can't handle the truth, they're little fucking snowflakes, and they should run back to their fucking safe spaces, you know. Because I'm gonna tell the truth, and you call me a troll and shit. Okay, fine. You want a slander case? We got a slander case. Okay? Because I'm gonna tell them the truth, like Steve Saleta's telling the truth, and I ain't kissing up to nobody. I ain't no house Arab. You know what I'm saying? I'm my own person, and if you got an issue with me, you're going to take it up with me, and we can do a rap battle or something. And I know you don't want to take the L there. You know what I'm saying? So, all you liberal hipsters pontificating about Palestine, talk to actual Palestinians like me, and actually see what we have to say. Because what we have to say ain't what Max Blumenthal or Sidney Blumenthal or Glenn Greenwald has to say. No, we are an authentic voice, and if you try to nullify our voice and push us out to the periphery, there will be a problem. And you will have to rap battle me. Oh, you hear me? Okay? Oh, and here's a beautiful response by the homie George Bell. Where is your self-awareness? You are social media content producers. Your careers feed on oppression, accumulating social capital for you. He drives children safely to school for an honest wage. One of you lives in the real world, and it's not you. Have some humility. It's basically your job to virtue signal on Twitter. Do you really think having a public profile and working in media is living on the real world? Oh my God, I agree 100%. Look, I'm a produce clerk. I work produce, floral, and grocery at a supermarket. I agree 100%. Steve Saleta's a school bus driver. His job is to get kids to school safely. Anya Parampil she's a media pundit. She sits in a hobbit hole. She might practice Aleister Crowley rituals. She virtue signals on Twitter. Dude, she doesn't live in the real world that a school bus driver, a produce clerk, a floral clerk, or a grocery parcel lives in, you know? I go to work. I'm like Steve Saleta. I go to work, clock in, do my thing, clock out, see you later. You know? Anya Parampil virtue signals on Twitter, shrieks and howls, oh no. You know? This is what she does. She's a drama queen who virtual signals on Twitter. That's literally her job. That's what Max Blumenthal is fucking paying her to do. And by the way, Max Blumenthal's dad, Sidney, worked with Hillary Clinton to murder Gaddafi. Probably didn't know that. And he used to be a big-time Zionist gatekeeper. Ali Salam will have a tweet on that. We'll talk about that later. Maybe another video, maybe this video. I haven't decided yet. But what do we got? Sana Saeed says, the quote was and remains absurd. However, off the cuff, what's toxic is coming after a Palestinian who sacrificed his career for his people's liberation and saying he does nothing for Palestine. This ain't it, and it's shocking to read some of these tweets. Alina Andra says, not shocking. The U.S. is deeply complicit in the genocide against Palestinians and Americans are steeped in anti-Palestinian, anti-Arab, and anti-Muslim messaging from the ruling class to facilitate it. Agree 100%. there's a lot of anti-Arab racism in the media, and in the media and in television and stuff. And I don't watch cable TV because it's all bullshit. It's all anti-Arab racist, funded by the Zionist lobby and all that, And at red_Palestine says, what the fuck? You're comparing a Palestinian's legitimate criticism to apartheid Zionist terror cult? To a ruthless colonizing force? Yeah, I agree. What the fuck is correct. I totally agree with that. House of K. What does House of K say? House of K says, the condescension is palpable. When I tweet or post to Facebook about Palestine, each and every one of those times, it's a great emotional cost. It's very painful to have to repeatedly educate the world about hatred toward my ethnicity. The end game is not a day job. Oh, snap. I agree with that 100%. It's really painful for me, too. My great-grandma from Palestine, like I said. So, yeah. And it's not like we can go back home anytime soon, So, all right. Suzanne Adeli said, law. The arrogance of left Twitter journalists who think they're more revolutionary than the rest of us. Stop embarrassing yourself. And she's even an Ilhan Omar stan. What the hell? And we don't like Ilhan Omar either, so. Ari the Safari says, you're really saying that the way a Palestinian person behaves is the real reason why the Zionists are committing genocide? Huh? And Karen Free Palestine, Free Palestine from river to the sea, says, imagine conflating Palestinian criticism with Zionist terror. Laughing my motherfucking ass off. Though, petty bourgeoisie self-victimization is boundless. I agree there, too. What else do we have? Man. Oh, and by the way, Steve Saleta has a new article on his website, stevesaleta.com. Check it out. stevesaleta.com/a simple question. No flags, no slogans. No. All right, simple question is civil conquest and the incompatibility of electoralism and decolonization. After a conversation with my wife in which she encouraged me to deploy language that won't disaffect leftists and amber of U.S. political spectacles, but instead invite them into conversation about why I consider it troublesome to mythologize presidential candidates by whitewashing their Zionism and thus diverting hard-won energy from Palestine's national movement into electoral, innately anathema to decolonization, I've been considering how to act on the advice. For I've tried the soft approach many times, always with the same result. A snide and often belligerent defense of pragmatism. And I can't imagine that result changing because ultimately the objection to recalcitrance isn't about tone so much as about outlook, ethics, ambition, and ideology. Yet, I want to honor the appeal to decorum. So with an open heart, I ask, what words might use to illustrate that Palestinian well-being is more important than networking opportunities, podcast appearances, that investment in electoral politics is both dull and provincial, that instinctively defending parties in position to proffer social capital betrays the wretched and dispossessed, that nothing in this vanishing world matters more than keeping alive the idea of freedom, real freedom, untethered to the numbing conventions of U.S. exceptionalism. And that beautiful possibilities arise when we attempt to inhabit alien sensibilities. Is there anything, in other words, that I can say that would convince them to stop colonizing the left on behalf of liberalism and calling it a revolution? Wow, beautiful article. Beautiful article. I agree. Because see, when you expose the Bernie bots, when you expose the Bernie bros as liberal Zionists, they get all defensive and shit. And it's happened to me so many times on Twitter. I can't tell you how many times. And then they'll report you on Twitter like, "Oh, he's a fucking troll." No, I'm calling your ass out because ain't nobody else doing it. I'm calling you out because nobody else is calling you out, and I'm part Palestinian. But, you call me a fucking troll. You're like, "Oh, I said the troll. I said this. I said that." No. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not a fucking troll. And you want a slander case? Fuck you. You cop a slander case. I don't give a fuck. Slander me, bitch? I don't give a fuck. Yo, so like, you don't understand how fucking calling you motherfuckers out affects me, Because you motherfuckers try to hijack our movement, and it ain't gonna fly with me, The thing is that there's no playing nice with these liberals. There's no playing nice with these liberals. You gotta call them out. You gotta do it forcefully. I don't give a fuck. You gotta call them out. Okay? And if you can't call them out, then shut the fuck up and let me do the work. Because I'm tired of this shit, man. If we type in search bar, okay? Let's type this. So, we type yes. So you see all these motherfuckers shilling for Bernie. Oh, there's my Twitter. But some motherfuckers like this, like Nadia Joseph. This is why we don't fuck with Chicago motherfuckers, Because they'll sell you fucking out. At least certain nationalities from Chicago will sell you out. But this kind of shit, I'm gonna fucking go after this shit, man. That's unacceptable. Here's what's acceptable. This shit, here's my official response. By the way, here's my Twitter. You can come follow me on Twitter. Asad, at Arturo Asad. If you like my emojis, you'll like my Twitter, profile. All right. So my official response: Steve got kicked out of academia for defending Palestine. Steve is also Palestinian. Anya is an opportunist and a Bernie stan who doesn't care about Palestine. That is my official take on this whole situation. And, this is coming from a Palestinian. Okay? So, yeah. So if you look at that's my Twitter profile. So, Radlib nonsense. And here's the truth. I like this Bob Wells tweet. Man, shout out to Bob Wells. He's also from Chicago, so he's the good side of Chicago. Sophia, or Nadia, is the bad side of Chicago, whatever her name is. Radlib nonsense. Martin is a crypto-fascist. Ask her spouse who tortured Iraqis for the hell of it. And I agree with that shit. And what does Spencer Latu say? Spencer Latu had a good ass point on this, man. Oh, goal, yes. Said Abby and her mercenary husband have done loads in the real world for the cause of Palestine. So this is Abby Martin's husband, Mike Preissner. Let's fucking get his own. He is a Zionist war criminal. He fought in the U.S. military in Iraq, committing war crimes, torturing Iraqis. So that's who Abby Martin is. So but there was this fucking Spencer Latu. Man, this good ass comment by him. Let's see if we can find it. Terry Aguilar. Shout out to Terry Aguilar. She's always got some smart takes on Twitter. I literally just saw right-wingers melting down because he was invited to speak somewhere. About Steve Saleta. Oh. Spencer Latu. Oh, here we go. Here's one of the smart tweets by Spencer Latu. The Gray Zone gang is all here. Gotta run damage control on horrible Zionist takes to keep their left credentials. So the Gray Zone is run by Max Blumenthal, the son of former CIA operative Sidney Blumenthal, who committed war crimes in Libya. So he's got a token house Arab, token minority, Anya Parampil. Abby Martin's part of his gang. Who else? Ben Norton, Anya Parampil, all of them. And they did try to shill and do damage control for... And so Rania Khalik says, totally agree with Ali, referring to Ali Abu Nima, who called them out as well. And I'll add, someone who's been very critical of Hussein's position on Palestine. Still not ideal. It's just like, oh, he's the best one, or whatever. And Spencer Latu correctly states, the Gray Zone gang is all here. Gotta run damage control on horrible Zionist takes to keep their left credentials. And he also retweeted, yes, Abby and her mercenary husband have done loads in the real world for the cause of Palestine. What he also said, he also had a very smart point. Might have to go to Safari. Nope. Safari. Where the hell? Safari's not showing up. Twitter. This is my old Twitter. My old Twitter account's on the Safari. Log in. My old Twitter account from uni, from university, from college, is on the Safari. All right. So, what do we got here? Spencer Latu. Smart dude. And I will be cleaning up this Twitter account. Here we go. Come on. Tweets and replies. See if it's on tweets and replies. He said a really something smart. All right. He says, so here's a response to Karan Turner. I'm criticizing the pylon of Steve Salaita because these quote-unquote leftists from the gray zone are opportunists using this Palestine to bolster the Democratic Party as saviors of Palestine. I agree 100%. Smart guy, man. Smart guy. What else? Scrolling down. Yeah, but I see. Palestinian liberation is a correct left position. Lionizing Sanders and left media personalities who support Zionism is incorrect. And Spencer Latu is correct. Of course. Okay. So he's got some smart takes, so check him out. This damn computer's mad slow. Okay. But that is pretty much it. That's pretty much all I have for right now. Check back for a video on baseball. We're doing a video on baseball because something really big happened between the Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds last night. And yes, I'm a Pirates fan, so I'll be coming back with that. But that's all for this video. You know, if you're Palestinian or you support Palestine, keep up the good fight. I'll see you in the next video. That's all for today. Peace.